Yeah, there's clearly some cool finance milestones, and at Paycor, were able to do a couple that, you never know if they're really going to happen. We were able to take the company public. I was able to go through a private equity transaction and a complete recap of the company. We were able to do Paycor Stadium naming rights with the Bengals, the NFL Stadium naming rights. These are all really cool milestone moments. I think some of the things that really resonated over my entire career as these milestone moments were some of the failures, actually, some of the moments where I felt like I was behind or I didn't know what I was doing. And I remember a specific example where we had acquired a company out in Colorado. And so I was traveling to Denver every week for about a year and a half and wasn't really making the progress on the integration from a business standpoint that I personally wanted to make. And they brought in another CFO, a line of business CFO who I reported to, and she was fantastic. She taught me a lot, but it really felt like a failure at that moment because I was learning how to run the business versus think about just the strategy side or think about the data. Really working with the leadership team, and it was a new muscle for me, and so I felt like I was really failing. That was a milestone for me where I started to realize that running a business and operating a business is different than just running the financials in the background. So that was a really big milestone for me. One of the other big milestones was learning to take more ownership over the outcomes, especially as a finance person that does a lot of forecasting and planning. It feels like sort of this foreign thing that all of the work is happening up in the future somewhere else in some other group. But when you take ownership there, and I had this specific example where I felt like the product leader who I was working with to build a product business case wasn't taking the ownership that I was expecting. And I actually read this book. I had just read this book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And that really changed my mindset from this moment of sort of receiving the financials, just thinking about the planning, just thinking about the forecasts and sort of the variance analysis to, hey, I actually need to own the outcome here with this person. And so how do I start thinking about that? So I remember reading that book in and of itself was a milestone moment for me in my career.